Welcome to Watkins Glen with another episode from beautiful New York. As you can see, beginning of November, leaves have all fallen. The Gorge Trail is closed, but we're gonna make it up to you and check out some of the lesser known trails of Watkins Glen. So stay tuned, you're not gonna wanna miss this episode. Peace. And we're here at Watkins Glen State Park. Weird thing that I wasn't expecting is this park is like right outside of a pretty decent sized town. So usually you go to state parks and it's in the middle of the woods or whatever, but there's what we're always talking about on the channel with the glaciers. So the glaciers rolled on through these valleys and made these huge drop-offs. So this is what is considered a hanging valley, which this valley was here before the glaciers came, and the glaciers just made this valley drop off suddenly, and that's kind of what happened to all this area around here. All right, trail's closed. That's not good. Might have to find an alternative route here. All right, well, not the best research done by me, I guess. Kind of thought if Taganic Falls was open that this would be open, but it's not due to COVID. Apparently due to their website. It says that the park is closed, or not the park, the trail was closed for maintenance. I guess it closed in October. So if you already didn't know, the creek trail, that's the main trail that you see pretty much everywhere, where everybody gets those killer shots of the staircases and all that. But there are a few other trails. I just looked at a map, and the Indian Trail, speak of Indians right there, the Indian Trail seems to be a pretty decent trail to do. And I believe, I don't know if you can see there in the distance, there's a little hill that goes up. So I think after my time lapse wraps up, I'm gonna head up there and probably head up on this ridge line here. So instead of doing the creek trail, we might be looking down into the creek trail today, but I'm not going to call it a total loss. I'm going to try to figure something out. I don't want to just come to Watkins Glen and walk away. without seeing anything. So stay tuned. Hopefully this stays in a total wash. All right, well, it's history time here as I wait for my time lapse to conclude. So New York, from at least the last 2 parks that I've been to, seems to have kind of odd history when it comes to their parks. It seems like a lot of the parks up here were privately owned back in the day, back in the early 1900s, and it was a big source of tourism, but it was all privately owned, so it wasn't exactly, you know, ideal. So eventually in the early 1900s, the state started buying these properties off of private landowners and making them into parks, and people were obviously all for it. Another little fun fact is we talk about the CCC boys a lot on this channel, and they actually had a hand in shaping this park, building bridges and whatnot. But a lot of the things that you see here were actually here before this was a state park. So the CCC came here, I believe, they were here for 2 days before one of the worst flood disasters, I think it was 1935, came through here and ripped this park apart. It was closed for a year due to that flood. That shows you how devastating it really was. And one more thing, as always, we talk about this a lot on this channel too. Whenever you have one of these fast moving bodies of water, creeks, rivers, you name it, they usually build mills, and this is no different. Samuel Watkins, sorry, he built a nice mill here back in the day, and 1794 to 1863, I believe it was. So Samuel Watkins, obviously, guessing that's where the name of the park came from. All right, well, moving on from the creek trail, unfortunately, we're gonna head up and try to do the Indian Trail. Don't really know anything about it. I had my sights set on doing the creek trail, but oh well, it is what it is. So we're heading up this pretty steep staircase here, and probably get a decent view of Watkins Glen when we get to the top here. So this way up here is this green trail that is unmarked. So I think I'm gonna go up here, maybe there's a lookout or something at the top of this, and then Lover's Lane is this trail here, and then the Indian Trail goes up here. So the plan is I'm gonna head up this way to see if there's anything up there. I'm guessing there has to be. Then I'm heading down Lover's Lane, which I'm guessing when I get to this point the trail will be closed. Then I'll probably hike back here, go over to the lily pond, hike across the covered bridge again, and then do the rest of the Indian Trail. This should be closed here, and then I'll have to hike the Indian Trail all the way back. All right, well, we're heading up the unknown trail. It doesn't have a name. It's on the map and it just shows a dead end, so who knows, maybe it's a hidden gem. Maybe nobody comes up here. It'd be cool if there was a nice lookout or something of the town. We'll see. Oh, you know what? It's a cemetery. That's probably why it's not marked. Looks fairly new, 1981, 1986. So it's not like this is an old ancient cemetery or anything, but still an interesting thing to stumble upon. Some old ones over there, 1928. No dates on these ones. $1925. Sun is rising over the hill. Eliza Durling, 1848. So it seems the farther back we get here, the older these graves get. Check this one out. I thought that was a real tree. It's actually a tombstone. That is interesting. So it looks like a whole family actually is buried here. 1858. All these are from the 1800s. The Hathaway. Henry Owens, or Henry Glenn's. 1907, 1925. I've actually seen somebody driving around up here, which is even more interesting. It's a little look at Watkins Glen down below the hill here. Some really old ones here. 1871 to 1878. 1874 to 1878. A lot of kids. Alright, well, I don't know if I should turn around and keep heading up this way. Man, what a beautiful, beautiful cemetery. Some awesome views. 1884. 1912. And we got this odd foundation over here. I'm not sure what this is all about. There's even more over the hill here. There's Seneca Lake there in the distance, the largest of the Finger Lakes. I don't know how well you can see it through the trees. 1869 though, and there's actually more graveyards over the hill, or tombstones over the hill, whatever you want to call them. But all I'm gonna do here. There's a house on the top of the hill too. Might be the caretaker's house or something. I don't want to seem disrespectful filming down here, so I'm gonna head on back to the trail and then hike down Lover's Lane. But this is kind of an interesting find. I don't think a lot of people probably realize this is up here. This is Lover's Lane. I'm sure you could probably imagine why it's called Lover's Lane. But here we are. Really nice. This is probably the nicest viewpoint we've seen yet today. So there's the Gorge Trail, or the Creek Trail as I was calling it earlier. I'm gonna head over here and see what's over this way. It's like a clearing. It almost looks like there's a well or something up here. Looks like it might just be some informational plaques. Oh, there's a old building up there. So just telling you where we are. Glen Mountain House. Before Watkins Glen became a state park, it was developed as a privately owned resort, like I was saying earlier. Morvodin Els, a journalist from Elmira, promoted the gorge, which was open to the public on 4th of July, 1863. Wow. Els gave the gorge's natural features descriptive names like Rainbow Falls, Central Cascade, and Elfin Gorge. Many of these names are still used today. Within a decade, Watkins Glen had developed an international reputation and drew tourists from as far away as Europe. So this might be the suspension bridge right here that we just went across, obviously the older version of it. The Glen Mountain House, an elegant Victorian inn that opened in 1872, stood on the land in front of you. So yeah, I was right, this is an old developed area here. It had many modern conveniences, including gas lamps and an elevator. The hotel burned to the ground in late 1903. Today, the Lily Pond may be in the same location as the pond in the photograph. So we're gonna go see this pond now. So this is, according to that sign, this is where the pond in that picture was. So we're standing right where the old hotel was back in the early 1900s. There's a black squirrel. Look at that. You don't see those too often. I actually want to go see what this motel or whatever this is. It might just be the visitor center, but it looks old. So I'm gonna head up there and then get back to you. Another one of those black squirrels. This place is pretty spooky looking. I don't know if this is the visitor center or what. Go out front and see what's up there. So this almost just looks like a pavilion that you can rent out, I'm guessing. Maybe like for weddings or something. I don't know. But it's old, I will say that. Alright, that was kind of cool to check out. I'm gonna head back down and do the Indian Trail. Alright, gonna give this Indian Trail a go. I think this is a 2.3 mile trip. Read a couple reviews on all trails and didn't really get that great of reviews. They said it was pretty generic and boring, I guess. So we'll see. So this will actually take us to another entrance of the park. I don't know if it's like the western or northern entrance of Watkins Glen. There's 3 entrances here. So we'll be going to one of them at the end, and then we'll have to hike this all the way back and then go back down the same stairs that we did earlier. Where Walden Ells opened this book of nature July 4th, 1863 as a private enterprise, now Watkins Glen State Park, one of the scenic wonders of the world. So 1863. Alright, well, obviously made it to the end of the Indian Trail. I'm at, I don't know, we'll just call this the northern end of the park. And fun fact, if you were here before COVID, they do have a shuttle service, so you'd be able to hike this Indian Trail to the top and then take a shuttle back to the parking lot in case you didn't want to, you know, walk it. Watkins Glen, kind of a bust, but hey, you know what? We've gotten lucky with a lot of parks this year. So here's one of the outlooks that I didn't stop at on my way up. Not really sure if this has a name or a view or anything, but let's check it out. So it says Life on the Edge. Oh, really cool view actually. Oh, this might be the best view on the trail. There you go. You see some of the Gorge Trail below with some waterfalls. Life on the Edge, telling you how certain plants cling along the side of these shale. Alright, well, just got back down to the visitor center area, the main little hub here. And as you can see, it's pretty much a ghost town still. Although I've seen, you know, probably close to 50 people on the trail today, even though I only did, you know, maybe 3 or 4 miles. So this is going to be the end of this episode. Sorry that we didn't get to go do the Gorge Trail, but it is what it is. Tried to make the best of it. Did I think basically every other trail in the park. So if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you go like, subscribe, comment, leave us a comment, tell us some cool places to check out. Alright guys, this is Bill from Watkins Glen State Park. See ya on the next adventure. Hopefully that's not part of the cemetery. It's actually kind of funny. I was just thinking how, I don't know if it's ironic or just kind of funny it is, but so we're going from a cemetery trail to Lover's Lane. They're right next to each other, so what were these kids doing back in the day up here? Crazy kids.